Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host Gordo Gambles and welcome back to another Best Bets video, this time for UFC Vegas 89. And you know what? We're not wasting any time on this thing. There's two things I want to cover. Number one, George St. Pierre is in the hospital. You know, we're down to one bobblehead figure, but that's not important. He'll be back. We'll take care of it. Number two is if you haven't seen these videos in a while, this is a best bets video. I'm just going to cover this as quick as I can. It should still be timestamped, but I just want to give you guys what I'm betting with as much knowledge and research as possible in a short amount of time, not waste anybody's time. I don't want to hear me talk too much, so let's get into the picks. If you guys think you haven't seen this video in a while, it's because you probably haven't. Instead, please make sure you're checking out CoolBet on Twitter. I post 1 minute quick videos there with my best bet each week. Been doing that for the past few weeks, and I will continue to do so. But with the slate at hand, we do have ourselves 13 fights, a pretty interesting one with a lot of close lines. And today I'll present you guys 3 money lines I like, 2 long shot props, and 1 round total we're going to go with. Let's not waste any time. First play up, you guys know it's coming. Billy Quarantillo, one of my favorite fighters in the entire world. Huge fan of him, and he is all the way down to -115, -119. That almost pick'em range, and to me that is just a bit absurd. Shail Yousafzalal is a very competent fighter who's willing to slow down fights, but he fights at a slower pace. I do think the guy winning optics, the guy winning volume exchanges, and the guy who is the better offensive striker here is going to be Billy Quarantillo. Additionally, he is the guy in a full camp. He is a guy who's been a cardio machine, and Yousafzalal is coming in on short notice, taking this against someone who has the potent cardio and ability to break you that Billy Q does. I think Billy is able to land the more damaging shot, win the optics, and although Zalal has wrestling upside, we have seen in the past that takedowns and control time aren't enough anymore. I do think the more damaging fighter with better cardio here is Billy, and he should get it done. Next up, another money line I like is Cody Gibson, +122. We're taking an underdog this week, and you know what? Another guy is facing somebody on short notice, and another guy who can weaponize that cardio. Cody Gibson has a ton of volume. He walks forward, very tough and durable, but is a guy who will weather through adversity, land a volume, and score pretty well in the judges' eyes. He's facing a guy in Miles Johns who may be better, let's say, technically with good footwork, but when you have a guy who moves as much as he does, a guy who has been training and is on a full camp, just like Billy Q, and a guy who I think has better cardio here is me and Cody Gibson. You add in the fact he can wrestle well, and although Miles Johns can wrestle as well, that has seemed to tire out his cardio in the past. I don't think that the path to victory, or the way this fight plays out, leads to a +122 price tag for Cody Gibson. I do think he should be favored in this matchup here. I do think he has more weapons to get it done, and I do think that the volume, the damage, and the pace he brings will be enough to break Miles Johns down the stretch. I do like his volume. I do like his frame and size, which is something I haven't alluded to yet, but he just checks a lot of these boxes that I want to see from an underdog, and I do think he gets it done. One of my favorite underdogs in the entire slate, and I'm taking him on the money line. Now, I mentioned 2 long shot props before we started. They're with those 2 fights. They kind of go hand in hand, and we're taking 2 round 3 props. They pay out very, very well. +1,500 for Cody Gibson to win round 3, +1,400 for Billy Q to win round 3. Both these guys weaponize cardio. Both these guys are facing guys on short notice, and both these guys have the ability to break their opponents in round 3. I think if you're taking the money line, those are also worth a sprinkle. Those are a big plus money number if you want to chase greatness. But truthfully, the money line is also a very good play if you want to keep it safe. I like all those. There's a little bit of long shot love for those who do like those parlays. Next up, the third and final money line is a sloppy one. We're taking Mick Parkin, -145. He is a heavyweight. He is not the prettiest of the bunch, but he is this guy who I do think has a good fundamental skill set. Muhammad Usman is his opponent. Muhammad Usman is Kamaru's brother, but doesn't have the same skill set. Mo is a guy who is really just forward plotting, not much volume, a ton of power and decent wrestling, but truthfully doesn't have the same technique, doesn't have the same volume, doesn't have the same ability to win minutes that a guy like Mick Parkin does. And I know Parkin put a sour taste in everyone's mouth after the previous matchup, but this is a different one stylistically. I do think he'll be able to walk forward, win the optic with his striking, and I do think he's just the better overall technical and volume striker of the 2. With the better jiu-jitsu, shall it go to that realm? I do think he should be a bigger favorite than he is, and I do like him at a little bit of chalk this week to get it done over a guy who I just don't rate too highly in Mo Usman. Last but not least, I did talk about a prop total I wanted to target, and again, not a pretty one, another heavyweight affair. This time in the co-main event, I'm taking the under in the Tafa versus Williams fight. Truthfully, Tafa has 3 minutes to get it done, and his win conditions are around 1 KO. He's done it before, and I do think that really plays into a good line we're getting here as well, and I do think that is a very likely outcome. Flip side of things, Carl Williams is a guy who's going to be using wrestling and taking down and dominating Tafa on the mat. Tafa has a good first line of defense because he's a big boy, but aside from that, fish out of water on the mat. Williams is able to do what he does down there and really dominate from any position he wants. The reason we're getting such a good line of such a volatile affair is because Williams isn't the best historical finisher, but I mean, Tafa is going to be a new low for him on the mat with the ability to finish him, whether that be submission, whether that be a positional ground and pound. I do think it's Tafa early, Williams late with his wrestling. Either way, I do think it finishes, and I'm willing to pay some juice to see that happen. With that out of the way, though, that is a quick breakdown of my favorite bets this week. 3 money lines, 1 total, and 2 long shots. I do think they're all playable and all very good lines here on CoolBet. Be sure to check them out. If you want to see my full slate of bets, check me out on Twitter at GamblesGordo. If you want a full in-depth breakdown of each one of these fights on the card, including DraftKings, including a full betting analysis, the other videos live on my page should be timestamped for you as well. But that's going to do it from here. I wish everyone the best of luck in all your betting endeavors. Let's make some money, guys.